came a point in my life when I knew I had to change it. So I took a chance, sold and gave away everything that I owned to experience a new life living out on the canals and rivers of the UK. So come along and experience it all with me every step of the way. Hello YouTubers. If you're feeling a bit uptight and stressed, can I suggest something to you? I want you to imagine that you jumped on the cruiser deck with me at the back of the boat here, and I'll guarantee by the end of this video you'll be relaxed or even asleep. And if you do fall to sleep, I hope it's because you're relaxed and not me boring the pants off of you. Today's journey is starting in the village of Blisworth on the Grand Union Canal, and we're going to head north through some delightful countryside to the village of Bugbrook, where I think we'll have a little look around. There's no locks between here and Bugbrook, so there's nothing to disturb our peace, hopefully. I've spotted a boat coming towards us through the bridge hole coming up, and the rule is the one who's closest to the bridge goes through, the other one gives way. But it's a bit debatable who's closest, me or them, so I'm going to pull up over here and hopefully let them through. It looks like they've stopped as well, so rather than us both sitting here looking at each other, I'm going to go for it. It's a tough one to judge sometimes, but if there's any doubt, I'll give way, because I'm never in a rush. When you come down here on these canals, you have to get yourself into something that's called canal time, and the quicker that you do that, the more you'll enjoy it. A recent comment on one of my videos said, and I'm paraphrasing here, "You don't travel far, but you certainly make the most of it." Which is true really, because the way I look at it, I've got nothing but time out here, and it's not a race, and I want to make sure that I see most of where I'm going through when I get a chance. A bit like this area now. I wasn't expecting much before I set off today, but so far it's been delightful. Lovely countryside, we've been blessed by the weather, peaceful. What more can you ask? I know I had to work very hard and take a few risks to get this lifestyle out here, but on days like this I feel blessed to be here. There's the complete opposite mode of travel just gone by, where the idea is to get to your destination as quick as possible. Whereas what I'm doing is the journey and not the destination, which is the important thing, to me anyway. and I'm sure glad that I'm down here and not up there. I was born and brought up in London, and as far back as I can remember, I've loved the countryside. And I've noticed that a lot of people that was brought up in the countryside crave the hustle and bustle and the buzz of the big cities. Strange that, isn't it? So on my budget, this is the nearest kind of lifestyle that I can get to perfection for me. There's a marina coming up on the left, and it's pretty close to the main road, so they're going to get a lot of traffic noise there, but I suppose they get used to it. I lived in a place for a few years that had a railway line running right behind it, and after a while a train would go by and you wouldn't even hear it. So I suppose it's all relative. There's quite an important junction right in front of us now. It's called Gayton Junction. If you go to the right, it takes you to Northampton. Then onto the River Nene, or Nen, and all the waterways in the east of the country. But we're going to go left and carry on up the Grand Union, and we'll save that for another time. Just look at that lovely blue sky. There's boats here moored on both sides of the canal. I think the side, or the boats on the left, I think that's the towpath side, and the boats on the right, I think they're private moorings, but I'm not sure. The bridge coming up in the distance is an interesting one. It's a turnover bridge. They was made back in the day for when the towpath changes sides. Saved them from unhitching their horses from the barge. If you don't know about them, have a think about it and have a look. There's a car park next to the bridge, so I'm going to be looking for somewhere to moor up, and I'll tell you why that is. My son-in-law Kieran has got an events company where he interviews sporting celebrities and makes a little show of it, and tomorrow night he's got an event in Coventry. So rather than drive all the way home to Essex in the early hours of the morning, I've offered to put him up on the boat for a night. So I need somewhere for him to park. And this place fits the bill with that car park right next to the bridge. But so far I haven't seen anywhere where I can get Aitch alongside the towpath. This gap looks promising. Nah, not quite big enough. Gonna have a go at this one, I think. Yeah, there's plenty of room here. Just having a look around, checking where the sun comes up and where it goes down to make sure that I've got plenty of solar here. It seems okay. I'm off on a new voyage of discovery now to see what it's like on the way to and at Bugbrook. Look at me, voyage of discovery. Anyone would think I was driving the Starship Enterprise and not just Aitch the Narrowboat. What I don't want to see are any Klingons off the starboard bow. Right, let's get me narrowboat head on now, because who knows where this could go. I do hope you're still awake, and that I haven't completely bored the pants off of you yet. But in all seriousness, I hope you agree it is a very relaxing place to cruise your narrowboat through. And I'm so glad to have your company going through areas like this, because it could be a lonely old time out here. And it's nice to have yous to share it all with. As I was going past this boat on the right, Thomasina, the cratch covers flew open, and people said that they enjoyed watching my channel. So thank you for that. And I'm sorry I didn't get your names, I was already past you. When you're travelling through the country at 3 miles an hour, it gives you a chance to notice a lot of things. And I've noticed how the colours of the stones that they build the bridges and the houses with, how they change as you go along from different areas. They're getting a darker brown in this area, and I suppose that's down to the local quarries. Slightly different stone, but it's nice. Do you see what I mean? As the canal meanders, we're back closer to the railway line again. We're entering the village of Bugbrook, so I'm going to be looking for somewhere to moor up. Can't moor up opposite the marina here. We've got some lovely properties that are making the most of their canal side gardens. There's a winding hole here, so I can't moor there. There's nowhere between the grey boat and the bridge, so I'm going to reverse up and see if I can squeeze in between that grey boat and the winding hole. Looks like I'm just going to be able to squeeze in. I'm just the right side of the arrows. I'm moored up more or less opposite the Wolf pub, which is quite old. It was built in 1891. And I got this free treat while I was moored there. That was a lovely surprise. I'm going to take you around the village now. Like I said earlier, you can see all the stoneworks getting darker as I'm going further north. If you step away from the canals, you do find some hidden gems. This brook runs right through the middle of the village. It's called Horstone Brook. I think it means Horstone Brook. Bugbrook was mentioned in the Domesday Book in 1086, but they called it Bugbrook in them days in Old English. I think Old English was closer to the German language than the language we speak now. The church has got a lovely name. It's called St. Michael and All Angels. It dates back to the 13th century. I think the stonework looks beautiful. The earliest mention I can find of this church was the year 1220. And it's got some real character inside. And lovely coloured glass windows. They lived a bit of a primitive life in them days, but they did know how to build. Couldn't see a lot of our buildings lasting this long. This is another village I would have never seen if I hadn't have been living and travelling on the canal. I'd like to thank a few people: Christine and Peter, Steve, Laura and Reese, Andy Bisson, Sally and Billy Newton, and Wolfie Wolves. Thank you so much for the coffees. And I've got a new member on the Buy Me a Coffee app, Steve. Thanks, Steve, for becoming a member, and that entitles you to 2 extra members only vlogs a month, so thank you very much. If you got this far, well done, and I hope to see you on the next one.